Good morning, everybody. Welcome. So glad that you're joining us today. We are still in our storytelling series, Kevin.
Still, it's a delight.
Still, it is a delight. We are telling stories every day to everyone. It's great. But hey, we know that we're going to have at least another couple weeks, possibly, or...
Yeah, possibly. Honestly, this is like what we're learning live.
Yeah.
So we're talking with our team. We're talking with our Hope teams. We're looking at our campus as a whole, and we're going, hey, what's left? Where are we still not stepping into this?
Yeah.
So we kind of play it by ear as we go.
There you go.
We've got at least one more week.
There you go. Thank you guys for joining us again. Welcome. You are listening to the Leading Hope podcast. My name is VJ Williams, here with my friend and pastor Kevin Jack. Thank you for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedule to become a better leader. If you're new, we release a new episode every Wednesday. Remember to subscribe on any of those platforms to make sure that you get this content downloaded on Thursday mornings. Also, share it with a friend on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. Also, please rate and review. You won't believe how that helps get this podcast in more leaders' hands just like yourself. And visit leadinghope.online to get updates and find out more about the Leading Hope community.
Today,
we are in episode 9-3. You ready?
I'm ready.
How? This is what everybody wants to know.
Oh, this is the one.
They don't go with the why or the what
This is the
or
one.
the when. It is how to tell a story.
I want you to know, this is the one, like, tag your friends, send it to whoever. Just
1,000 of them.
Just send it in a big bulk group.
Yeah.
That way it's like you don't call out the ones who are terrible storytellers. We want to get into the practice of like, hey, this is how you actually tell a story. Last episode was all about stories worth telling, okay?
Yeah.
We're not really revisiting that. I'm going to touch on it for just a second.
Last episode, you told everyone to tag 1,000 of their friends. We had, I think it was Scott and Donnie both said, I don't have 1,000 friends, man.
They do on Facebook.
I love that.
You guys do.
They got them.
Tag a couple thousand of your friends
There you
on
go.
this one.
Good.
So this is what I want to walk through. I want to walk through 6 principles of storytelling, okay, that will make your stories better no matter who you are. Like, no one ever, like, gave us a class. So much of our life is on storytelling. So much of our leadership is on storytelling. And no one ever told us, like, this is how you tell a story.
Yeah.
This is how when you say, hey, I've got a story for you, you make the person actually lean in instead of check their watch. So I want to walk through 6 principles on storytelling. First one is a quick revisit of last week, but it needs to be restated. Principle 1, the transformation is what matters. The uniqueness of the circumstances adds to the fun, but the transformation is what is important. When you think story, you should not think event. You should think transformation, how you have been changed because of it, and you need to tell the story in a way that emphasizes that. If you need more on that, go back, watch episode 9-2.
9-2.
Stories worth telling.
You said something last episode that it really what changed?
Yes.
What changed?
Yeah, that's
some
it.
people, they say transformation. There's like this, oh man, it's too big a word for me. What changed?
That's good.
Good.
Powerful. Principle 2, your voice is the soundtrack of the story.
Oh man.
Okay? Your voice is like, when you're watching a movie and the soundtrack matters, Bethany and I, we watch, I'll just say we watch a lot of British shows. We watch Ted Lasso.
It's like, what?
Sorry, you're like, what's happening? And we can't really understand because they speak British, and you're like, they speak English. Like, I feel like they speak British. It's a little different. And we can't understand what's saying, so we always watch it with the subtitles on so we can know what's being said. And I love it when the subtitles put up, like, what is taking place in the soundtrack is, like, eerie music.
Yeah.
Hopeful music, and I'm like, oh, I know something good's coming, or I know something bad's coming because of the soundtrack. When the soundtrack doesn't fit the scene, it completely changes the story, the dynamics of the story. Like, if you're watching a hopeful musical and all of a sudden it starts playing horror movie music, you'd be like, what the heck is happening?
Yeah.
Now, you would never have that happen in a movie, and yet people do that in stories all the time. If you're excited, sound excited, okay? Like,
Oh, there you go.
if it is something that is enthusiastic that's taking place, be enthusiastic. Like, some people are like, and so that's whenever our first kid was born. Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Like, are you excited that happened?
Yeah. Here's another one. You ready? You ready? My brother got baptized.
Yes. It's just
Sorry.
yes.
I couldn't help it.
It's so much. Your voice is the soundtrack. Now, if it's sad, don't sound enthusiastic. That throws
Right.
people off.
Yeah,
If
that's
if it's like a heartbreaking moment, don't laugh because you can't handle the tension.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a tendency of people. It's like we don't understand the difference between a joke and irony. And if something feels ironic, or we just can't handle something difficult, we'll start laughing, and you're like, "You monster!" Like, now I say that. And that's who I am. Okay. So I just first off acknowledge this is my failure. This is my weakness. Is
good.
I make jokes because I think they're fun at times that I should. But to acknowledge, principle 2, your voice is the soundtrack of the story. Let it set the tone of the story. If it's exciting, be excited. Principle 3, this is so important. Move your starting line as close to the finish line as you can. Figure out where your story is going to end. The end of your story is transformation. This is what matters. This is what's so important. If you're telling someone else's story, you are ending the story talking about how you have been transformed throughout this story. But you want to move your starting line as close to the finish line as you possibly can. And I'll say it like this. This is what I put in my notes. The prequel to Star Wars works for Star Wars. But there's a reason why they give us all the text that comes on the screen like this is because otherwise the movie would be 5 hours long. They're able to get us into the heart of the action right away. They don't give us all the background and context. Now, when people tell stories, what happens is we start where the story picks up in our brain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like for us, the start of the story is the start of the event.
Yeah.
That is not the start of the movement and energy in the story. And so you need to make this distinction between when do I think the story starts and when does this story need to start for the person that I'm telling. And it's just a real simple question. Do they need to know that? Do they need to know this bit of information in order to be aware of what's taking place later on? When we tell a story, we want to find the context of our own life that leads into it, but that doesn't matter for the people who hear it. You're not telling the story for your sake, but for theirs. Oh, how much time we could have saved in people's lives.
Yes.
By moving the starting line closer to the finish line.
Oh, that'd been fantastic. We should do that more often.
There's nothing that kills me more than it happens so often, like at weddings or things like that. A parent will give a speech like, well, April 19th, 1985 was a rainy day, and it was the day that they were born. Yeah. And I'm like, how long is this going to take? How detailed we getting?
Yep.
In this story.
Yep.
And I say that humorously, but for all story, move the starting line as close to the finish line as you can. Principle 4, details make the story fun, but don't take unnecessary paths. Now, this is where my view of storytelling may differ from others, is because some people will instruct storytelling should be as straight of a line as it possibly can from the beginning portion all the way to the end. And that's where they put their focus, like, hey, you need to go here and there, take no other paths, make no other details, things like that. Just move along on that character transformation arc. And I disagree, because I believe that the details make the story fun. I believe some of the side paths and things like that, that's what makes a story truly interesting. I want to know, like, what happened here? And this side character, and he's hilarious, and this took place, and that's fun, and it helps me picture the events. But it only is important to this degree, okay? You can take a side path to tell details as long as someone doesn't begin to believe that that is the main path of the story.
Oh, that's good.
And I hope that resonates. I hope that's able to make sense, is to go, as soon as they are confused about what is most important in the story, then you've got to edit stuff out and you've got to lead it and go, this doesn't matter, okay? Add the unnecessary details, but don't allow the and I know that may sound crazy. They're like, the unnecessary details, the things that make it fun and give it life and create the uniqueness of the moment. Add them as long as they don't become confused for the story itself.
That's good. And yeah, you can't let it overshadow that side path, the actual path.
Yeah,
that's
a good phrase.
That's great.
All right, principle number 5. When the movement stops, I'm out. If there is no more forward progress in the story, I am done. You should be doing something or changing at every scene of the story. And you go, scene, so it's like a movie. Well, when you tell a story, my guess is you're not just in one location the entire time. And so as you go through, if there's a scene in the story, if there's a part of the story that doesn't matter to your growth, I don't need to know. I don't care. So let's say your story started on a Wednesday and your transformation moment happened on a Friday. And you've got Thursday, nothing happened. I don't care. Don't tell me what happened Thursday. Go from Wednesday and go to Friday. There should be movement at every part of the story. So imagine it like this. Your story is about your car dying and you're being stranded beside the road for 8 hours. There is nothing happening for those 8 hours that you're stranded. And so any detail that you put in better be how you're changing, how you're transforming. Because, oh my goodness, I have sat through stories.
Oh.
People are like, we did this, and we were stuck. And so we played some games, and then we tried to read a book.
I'm out.
It's just like, you're even bored.
Yeah. Yeah, you're bored at your own story.
Like, why are you sharing the information of the time that you were bored?
Yeah.
Do you not think I'm going to be bored about the time that you were bored?
Can I ask? Can I
Go.
I want to. So, isn't this what the disciples did? Like, they didn't talk anything about Thursday at all.
Oh yeah, or Saturday.
Oh well, Monday, Thursday too. Like
A little bit on Monday, Thursday.
did.
Yeah,
But
Last
like-
Supper.
Yeah, but that was like it. Like,
But Saturday,
but Saturday,
nothing.
Nothing.
Jesus crucified on a Friday, resurrected on Sunday. You go, what happened Saturday? We have no idea.
Yeah.
Because there was no movement.
There we go.
There was no like real change that was taking place there.
Yeah.
So
It's good.
great stories are never heard because they get stuck without movement. When there's no movement, people bow out. So you have to be thinking as you're telling stories, hey, where is it still moving? Because as soon as it stops, I'll just tell you this, I'm out. I'm done. I have no interest.
It's good.
And principle number 6, maybe the most important one of all these, and that is anyone can be the hero of the story that you're telling, but you. When you're telling a story, you can have significant figures, people in your life who rise to the occasion and do incredible things, but let them tell that story. Don't you be the person to tell that story. You never make yourself the hero of your own story. You can talk about how you were transformed. Because when you talk about your transformation, we're getting on this again because I want it really to set in. You're talking about confession. You're embodying humility in those moments, but you are never the hero of the story. Oh my goodness. Let me just pick on pastors for a second.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you about that. So good.
Because I've heard so many pastors share stories of whether it was they were witnessing to someone, they were inviting someone, they were helping someone.
Yep.
And they just share this thing that they did. And it's like, I did it. I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to clap for you? Am I supposed to thank you for being such a gosh darn good human being? Like, I don't understand how I'm supposed to respond in this moment.
Yeah.
You can share it and how this other person impacted you and how the process of your action even transformed your own life and how God taught you something through it. But you better not be the hero of your story because I don't care.
Yeah. The best pastors that I watch, their sermons and messages deliver, I feel, at least in the mental space, in the awareness of the story that they're explaining, the Bible, of course.
Yeah.
I feel like I can see in my mind the environment.
Yep.
The character.
That's good.
The stuff that they're doing, and I'm gonna ask you to speak on this because you just did this recently, I believe, as you spoke somewhere outside of our church. But you did where you had you spoke, and you had put in the stuff here because I'm not exactly sure what you spoke about. But it was Jesus telling Mary, was it?
Yeah.
Mary to come here.
Yep.
Like he wasn't going to go to her. But I can see in my mind, like I am there when you're speaking because of the way you're describing the situation. Talk more about that, why that's so important, because if you can put the people that are in the seats into the story on the stage with you,
oh, that's good.
That's going to be powerful.
So we're jumping. Yeah, okay, that's great.
Am I too far ahead?
Oh, no, you're great. That's the end of my principles.
Oh, cool.
That was number 6.
Oh, okay.
So I say it like this.
Didn't even know that.
That is so important when you're telling a story that you help someone imagine the scenery, the environment that they, and I mean, like if we use all the evocative language on there, like they can touch it, they can feel it, they can sense it, they can smell it. Yep. They understand all those things that are taking place. A unique thing within there is this is even beside the principles, one of the best ways to do that is not by going into agonizing detail about the description. Okay?
Yeah.
It's to create a similar scene in their mind of one they've been in, and then to embody it with your tone of voice.
Yeah.
So it would say it like this context, Mary, her brother Lazarus, has died. I don't need to go through in agonizing detail what that room would have felt like, because almost every single person has attended a funeral home or something like that in which they felt that pain. I don't need to describe her house. All I need is to reference a similar location that they've been in and then embody that through my tone, and I've already put them at the scene.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then you deliver that through the fact of the emotion that Jesus and Mary felt at the same time through the way your voice changes and the way you say that. Man, and that's, for me, I'm there, man. You said I'm out earlier. I'm all in on that side of it, and it's powerful.
Yep, absolutely. So that's what we just kind of want to take you through today, is just to go, listen, there are some people, they are natural, gifted storytellers. It's what they're good at. It's what they do over and over again. But anyone can become a better storyteller. And I believe this, it is important to your leadership, and I'll even emphasize it like this, it is important to your relationships to become a better storyteller. You don't want to be the person who, when you start to tell a story, everybody's kind of checking their clock and checking out. And so there's some simple ways that you can do that. Go through these principles, practice stories, and you can know how to tell a story. But it first starts with knowing stories that are worth telling.
Yep. I'm going to ask you one question, and then you can wrap this whole thing up.
Okay.
Of all of these principles, you gave us 6, which is fantastic, because I think we'll put these all in the notes for you as well. But of those, which one have you had the hardest time with, but know that that's been the biggest impact moving forward?
For me?
Yes, for you.
I think one of the hardest ones is, and I know this sounds ridiculous because it's such a simple one, the third principle of move your starting line as close to the finish line as possible. That is the hardest one that is the quickest fix for storytelling.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
But what naturally happens is we always begin the story with when we entered the scene, and that's not necessarily where the movement of the story begins. So being intentional of that is difficult, but it's honestly the most impactful one.
That's great. All right, episode 9.3, wrap it up for us.
That's it. Anyone can be a better storyteller. We want it to be you.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us for How to Tell a Story. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, it means the world to us. If you did that now, also post about it, rate and review on Apple Podcast. A few extra minutes right there rating that will help this get into more leaders' hands just like you. We love hearing your stories and how the podcast is working in your life or in your business. If you have a story, visit leadinghope.online and send that to us. We'd love to hear from you. And remember, everyone has 21. Everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.